Hey guys, today we're going to go ahead and we're going to start looking at division. Okay, so the problem that we have up here is an Explorer problem. When we take a look at it, it's like Candy was organizing all of her old magazines to give away. She had 2,347 Time Life magazines and 3,167 National Geographic magazines. If she separated all the magazines into 6 piles to give away, how many magazines are in each pile? All right, so when we look at that, let's get a page to work on. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. So the first thing we have to do is figure out the total number of magazines that she has. So she had 2,347 of one type, and then she had 3,167 of the other type. So when we add those together, taking a look, all right, I get 5,514 total magazines. Now, if we looked back at the problem to see what the next part was, she separated all the magazines into 6 piles to give away. Okay, so when we look at it, this is the total amount. She's going to separate them into 6 equal piles. So separating something into equal size piles is going to be division. So when we look at it, I'm going to go ahead and start dividing. Now, the process that I use for division should be something similar to what you saw last year in 4th grade. If it isn't, that's okay. We're going to learn it today. It goes by a lot of names. I've heard it called partial quotients. That's the general name. Miss K from last year always calls it the Big Seven because you can see the shape of the Big Seven right there. I've also heard it called the forgiving method. It's all the same method. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and we're going to see how many times does 6 go into 5,514. So normally, if you know your multiplication facts, this goes pretty quick. If you don't know your facts, this is quite difficult. If you don't know your facts, I would suggest along the side writing down all of your facts just so that you'll have them as a reminder of how you can multiply by 6s. Okay, so I might write them out so you have to refer to. But I luckily know my 6s. So the first thing I'd be looking at is, can I do 6 times something and get to 5? Well, no, because 5 is smaller. All right, can I do 6 times something and get close to 55? Sure, 6 times 9 is 54. Now, I don't really just want to do this 54. I don't want to take out 9 groups. What I really want to do, if I multiplied 6 times 90, it would be 540. And if I multiplied 6 times 900, it would be 5,400. Okay? Look at how much I'm taking away now. If I only took away 54, I'd have to do this for a long time. But now I've already taken away 5,400. So when I subtract and I take a look, I have 114 left. Okay? So now I would start and I would think, all right, can 6 go into 1? Can I do 6 times something and get to 1? No. Can I do 6 times something and get to 11? No, but I can get close. If I do 6 times 1, okay, that would make 6. And if I do 6 times 10, that would make 60. So I can take another 60 of them away. When I subtract 4, 11, whoops, that makes 54. All right, so I have 54 magazines left that I still need to split up. So these 54 magazines still need to get split into groups of 6 or into 6 groups. So let's do it again. If I have 54 and I want to break it up into 6 groups, oh, well, 64 times 9 does make 54. When I subtract, I have nothing left over. There are no magazines left. So looking on this side of the Big 7, this shows me how many are in each group. I made 9. We can just add them up. Let's see, 9, 110, and 900. So I made all together, when I separated 5,514 magazines into 6 piles, each of those piles would have had 919 magazines in it. It's a lot of magazines. Okay. Now, that was a real quick version of our division because it went along with that problem just to see what we remembered from last year. Let's take a look at another example of division, okay? But let's slow things down a little bit. So let's take the number 826. And this time we're going to divide it by the number 7. Now, if you haven't noticed this yet, I've been using 7s and 6s and 8s a lot in my problems. The reason for that is I've noticed some of you are struggling with your facts. And in all honesty, I'm trying to convince you to start practicing your multiplication facts. So what I'm looking for now when I do division, I'm looking for how many groups do I need or can I make when I divide this out. So when I break this up into groups of 7, how many groups will there be? So I want to think of what number can I multiply 7 by to get close to 826. And the nice thing about this being such a big number is I would start off by going, all right, 7. Can I multiply it by something and get close to 8? Yeah, I can. If I multiply 7 by 1, it would get me close to 8. Okay, but remember, I'm not just trying to break up the 8. There's really 826. So what I would really like is to make 700. So to get to 700, I'd be multiplying it by 100. Okay, so taking a look, 100 times 7 is 700. Now when I subtract this, 6, 2, and 1, I have 126 left. Okay, so now I'm taking this 126 and I'm still breaking this up into groups of 7. So I would look and I'd say, all right, well, can I do 7 times something and get close to 1? No, not without going over at least. Can I do 7 times something and get close to 12? Sure. So let's stop and think. Could I do 7 times 2? 7 times 2 is 14. But that's too much. I don't have that many. So when I go to do subtraction, it's not going to work. So that wouldn't work for it. It has to be something smaller. So I can't do times 2. I can do times 1 because 7 times 1 is 7. And since it's really 126, not just 12, I'd probably be better off doing this, multiplying 7 times 10 and getting 70. Now when I do my subtraction, I do 6 and 12 minus 7 is 5. Now I still have 56 left that I'm breaking up into groups of 7. So I would stop and think, all right, 56 being divided by 7. Can I do something times 7 to get me to 56? And yeah, if you know your facts, be 8. 8 times 7 is 56. So when I subtract, I have nothing left over. Once I get down to either nothing or just something smaller than 7, I know I'm done. I can't do any more division. So I'm going to add these up. 8, 110, 100, and I have 118. So if I take 826 and break it into 7 groups, there would be 118 in each group. Okay, that's how this works. All right, so we just go through, we take a look at our numbers, and we're dividing them out. Let's do one more real quick one. So this time we're going to divide something by 3. So let's do, oh, that's an awful big 7. All right, I know it's a big 7, but that might have been too big. Normally I write the number first, and now you know why. All right, so let's do maybe 531. So we're going to do 531, and we're going to break it up into 3 equal size groups. So imagine you and 2 of your friends, so 3 people, had found $531, and you're trying to split it up evenly between you. Okay, so you're trying to figure out how much money each person should get. So the first thing I do is I look and I say, all right, 3. Okay, can I multiply 3 by something and get to 5 or at least less than 5? And yeah, I can. 3 times 1 would get me to 5. But remember, I don't really want to just get to 5. I want to get to 500. So if I multiply it by 100, 100 times 3 is 300. Then I can go through and I can subtract 1, 3, 2. And I have 231 left. So I still have $231 that I'm trying to break up between these 3 people. So I look, all right, so 2. Can I do something? 3 times something is 2 or less. No. All right, well, how about 3 times something is 23 or less? Yeah. And if I know my facts, 3 times 7 would get me to 21, but I'm really trying to get to 231, so I could make this 210 by actually multiplying by 70. 70 times 3 is 210. I do my subtraction here. I have 21 left. That works out great because I already know what 3 times 7 is. 3 times 7 is 21. So when I do that subtraction, 0 left over. Let's add this up and we'll find out 177. So if we had found $531 and we were dividing it between 3 people, each person would get $177. Okay, so this is one way that we're going to be taking a look at division this week. Today we're doing the 4th grade standard of taking a number and dividing it by one single digit. The biggest thing you need to remember for today, you've got to know your multiplication facts. Multiplication is not going away. You need to know those facts. The second thing to know is every time we set this up, you're trying to figure out how many groups you can make out of this. So if I'm doing 3 into 531, trying to find out how many 3s there are in 531, all I'm doing is just slowly whittling it down. So I know I can make 100 groups, that's 300. I know I can make 70 more groups, that's 210. I know I can make 7 more groups, that was 21, and then I had nothing left over. And then I just count and see how many total groups did I make. Okay, that's your goal for today. So I want you to practice some of these out. Remember, on each of the practice problems, the answer with a picture is after it, so you can go through and check to see how it works. But one thing I will say, though, is when you are doing problems like this, just be careful because there are lots of things you could multiply by, and you might end up doing a lot more subtraction. But your end answer should always end up being the same. So if you end up with a different end answer, then you definitely should be stopping off and taking a look with us during our office hours and asking for a little more help and practice. All right. I hope that is helpful for today, and we will see you tomorrow.